All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Survive to Thrive. Grab some pen and paper. I want you to take some notes. Before we get started, I have a question for all of you. Now, this is a real question, okay? It's not like a hypothetical. I actually want you to do this. So here's the question. If I were to ask you to send me a picture of your calendar, translated. I'm asking you to send me a picture of your calendar. I mean, right now, grab a camera and take a picture of your camera. If you were to, if I were to grab a camera and take a picture of my calendar, there's what you would get. Okay. Nothing on there but appointments, by the way, because my calendar is not for anything but 20% activities. 80% activities go somewhere else. If I were to ask you to send me a picture of your calendar, what would it look like? What would I see? What would be the story that that picture would tell? If you're brave enough to do it, just grab a camera and take a picture of your calendar and put it in the chat. All right. I want to talk to you about time. So there's 24 hours in a day. Everybody knows that. There's 1,440 minutes in the day. That may be news to you, or maybe you haven't done the math, but there it is. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. The average workday is 10 hours. That's 50 hours per week and 2,500 hours a year to achieve our business goals. Why do we why do we not all achieve the same level of success? Question. So if we all have the same amount of time, why do we not all achieve the same amount of success? By the way, I'm almost never do this, but I'm in Rainmaker today, guys. And if you want to know what page, it's page 12. Uh, I'll get back to the answer of that question in just a second, okay? Success is not a result of how much time we invest in our business. It's the result of how much focus and energy we put into our business. So if you didn't write that down, write it down. Success is not a matter of how much time we put into our business. It's a matter of how much focus and energy we put into our business. Put another way, it's a matter of how much focus and energy we put into our time. So let's go back to where we started and break down that 2,550 hours, 50 hours per week, 10 hours per day, 600 minutes per day. The 80/20 principle says that 80% of my income is a result of 20% of what I do. If your production goal for the year is $5 million, then your GCI at 3% is $150,000. 150,000 divided by 2,550 hours is 58.82 per hour. I'm going to slow down on the really important stuff because I want you to write out this math equation. So let me say that one more time. $150,000 divided by 2,550 hours is 58.82 per hour. That means if you looked at all of the time that you're spending in your real estate business and you earned $150,000 and you're working 10 hours a day, then you're making 58.82 per hour. Now, most of us, if we are honest, spend a fraction of the 2,550 hours on dollar productive activities. Most of us are probably spending about 20% of our time on the 20% that generates the results. If you were to spend more time on dollar productive activities and less time on 80% activities that are not generating income for you, then you're actually making more money in less time. And when you look at the productive value of your work day, lead generation, scheduling appointments with buyers and sellers, going on appointments with buyers and sellers, going on listing appointments, taking seller listings, writing offers, and negotiating contracts. And you look at the value of the time, and now you do the math. Your value time is probably worth about $250 an hour, which means the 20% time that you work to generate income is probably worth about $250 an hour. Now, if you could add, because you're taking things away that don't matter, if you can add an extra 100 hours a year to your productive time, take that $100, multiply it by $250, and tell me what you get. And you just increased your income by whatever the answer to that question is, simply by saying no to the wrong things and focusing your time on the things that matter. You could put the answer in the chat if you want. So here's the title. All of that was to set up what I want to talk to you about today. Be so focused that noise can't find you. If you haven't written that down already, write that down. So there's three key points here. Number one, clarity. You must be crystal clear about what you want. Vague goals produce vague results. I want to double my production is a vague goal. You have to be crystal clear about what you want. Uh, I'm going to go on and add to that why you want it is also important. Super, super important. I was talking to a real estate agent a couple weeks ago who had massive success over the past 12 months, but has hit a little bit of a slump. And whenever I do this, I know some of you are going, he's talking about me. No, I'm not. It's nobody on this call. Okay. So, and they were trying to figure out what was different then that I don't have now. Why was I more successful a year ago than I am now? And the result of the conversation was a year ago, this person had to be successful. They had urgency around closing deals, making money in order to support their family. Now they're doing better and they've lost the urgency. And they're still successful, but they're not hitting the goals that they've set for 2025 because they lost the urgency. So you got to find the why. The why we had a year ago was screaming in our face. It was super loud. It was there, nothing was going to distract us from that. And getting distracted when you've got urgency in front of you, it's that 2 mile swim to shore when your boat just sank and you've got to swim 2 miles to shore or die. Then Victoria Mountain, no, it's not you. Uh, you've got to swim to shore or die, then you've got urgency around that. You're going to swim to shore. Nothing's going to stop you. You've got one job, swim to shore. Now, if you can get your real estate business to a point where your why, the urgency is that crystal clear. In other words, my job every day is to have 20 real estate conversations and book 2 appointments, whichever comes last. And I don't stop until I've booked at least 2 appointments because it's the same thing as swimming to shore. I mean, there's nothing that's going to stop me from making those, continuing to make calls because I've got the urgency behind it. Okay. So you must be crystal clear about what you want. Vague goals produce vague results. Now I'm going to go on and say you have to also be crystal clear about why you want it. Super important. All right. Number two, concentration. Once you know what matters, you must give it your full attention. Full attention. Does anybody actually even know the definition of that word? Any of that whatever that is? Full attention. Can anybody describe what full attention is? Megan, I don't know if you're laughing at me, but I hope you are. It's fun to watch Megan Clark when I'm talking to you guys. She's just so much fun to watch on camera, and I'm so glad you have your camera on, Megan. Sean, talk to me.
I heard something yesterday. I was going to wait till the end of it, but I think it's end of this to say it. So, in short, signal is what you want to be focusing on. Noise is everything else. So, if you have 18 hours in the day, how much of that time is spent solely on signal? Whatever that signal is, it could be open houses, it could be calling, making calls, whatever it is. So, the focus is how much of that time do you spend on signal and how much of that time do you spend on noise? The goal is no noise, all signal.
I agree. Good job, Sean. Good job. So hard to
Be
do
present.
being present.
Be present. Don't just. So this is on. I know you're focused on
You're good.
scheduling and goals, and so
You're good.
being present, mapping out what you're going to do next, and if that next thing is have a conversation with somebody, be present in that conversation. Don't just listen to talk, listen to understand and hear. By the way, we're at 75. And yeah, be present and focus on what's in front of you for the time that you have allotted for that focus.
Really good example. Okay. Have you ever been at a social event and you're talking to somebody and they're looking around the room? Of course you have. And it's like, hello, I'm right here. Just pay attention. Like they're looking for somebody more interesting to talk to. That's what you're thinking, right? Uh, Angie, talk to me.
I was just going to say on the concentration part, it's about setting your standard, like you had mentioned, and your boundaries and not letting the noise or anything get into it. I know that in the beginning of my career, everything was an emergency and it isn't. So it's really letting the people around you know your goals and what you're doing and ask for support as well, especially if you're working from home. It's just making the irrevocable committed decision that this is what you're doing no matter what.
100%. Thank you, Angie. Some really smart people jumping in here and sharing, by the way. So, also from Rainmaker, and I'm not trying to sell the book, guys. Okay. I'll just share the stories with you. Okay. So, also from Rainmaker, I use the story of our Disney trip when Colin was 5 years old to talk about full attention. Okay. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking to you guys about having full attention, about being so focused that the noise can't find you. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment as I'm sharing this story with you that the story of my 5-year-old son getting lost at Disney World and the full attention that went into finding him is you every single day focusing on the 20% activities that are going to get you the results that you want and everything else is just noise. So we're standing at this little diner on the corner of Main Street. We're there for the Disney Christmas parade, and we've been there all day long. Everybody's super tired. Whole family is there, and I'm standing at the counter with Colin, and we order a couple hot dogs and a couple sodas, and we walk over to where the condiments are, and I look down at my son, and I'm holding his hand. Of course, there's thousands of people everywhere, right? I'm holding his hand, so I know he's there right by my side. And I ask him, what do you want on your hot dog? And he tells me, I forget what the answer was, but now I need both hands. And I let go for 10 seconds. And I look down and he's gone. Nowhere in sight. I mean, I'm doing this, I'm looking around, I can't see him anywhere. And instant panic, right? Yeah, instant panic. But I'll tell you what else happened instantly instant focus. Nothing else matters other than finding my 5-year-old son. Everything else stopped. Now, my wife is there, the whole family's there. I grab everybody, and we go on nothing, full alert, nothing but finding Colin. Nothing else mattered. Now, I don't know how long that took. It felt like hours. It was probably minutes. And we finally found him. He was sitting in the back of the diner watching Disney cartoons like this. And I look at him, and of course, I drop to my knees, put my arms around him. I'm in tears. Everybody's in tears. And he's like, what's up? What's wrong? I was just watching cartoons. So that's full attention, everybody. That's what I'm talking to you about when I'm talking about be so focused that the noise can't find you. Now, what if you worked your real estate business every day, like whatever it is you're going after with the same energy, same focus, and same urgency as finding your lost child? What if the life of someone you love depended on you hitting your goals today? Would you get distracted? Of course you wouldn't. You would say no to everything other than that one thing. Darren, talk to me.
Hey, good morning, guys. I like to visualize this as getting in the hot seat, and that's the visualization that I have is like I need to get into the hot seat, which is like the stuff that I don't really want to do, like make calls or whatever. And everyone has a stack of stuff that they have to do. I have to work on my trust documents. I have to call Rita. I have to figure out what CRM by September 30th, and then I have to call so and so back. And a lot of times you feel like, oh, I'll just fill this one thing instead of making calls. I'll just do two more things off my list. And it's easy to do because it's hard to get yourself in the hot seat. And so I try to, and a lot of people, including, I'll be transparent. My wife kind of gets irritated because she'll say, you have all these things piling up around you that need to get done, and you're making phone calls. And I have to explain a lot that yes, all those things are still important. They all have to be done. They all need to be done to run the business. But if I constantly let them distract me from being in the hot seat, then the business won't grow.
That's right.
So I don't know if that helps anybody. I know most of the people on this phone are in the same situation. We all have a ton of stuff to do, and it's easy for our brains to allow us to work on those other things because they're important, but it sabotages the really important things of building your business. And I hope that helps you guys. That's the way that I visualize it, and that's the way I compartmentalize it into continually trying to get myself in a hot seat longer per day.
Good stuff, Darren. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Matthew, I'm going to come to you in just one second, and I've got one more thing I want to share with you, and that's a wrap. But I want to hear from you. So put your hands up, everybody. Matthew's first. The last thing, the third point is consistency. Focus is a habit. Focus is a habit. It's showing up day after day, working on what matters most. Pretty simple stuff right there. It's showing up day after day, working on what matters most. Now, the key for you is to create non-negotiable standards. That's, if you want to call it the hack, in order to be more focused. You don't have to be so focused if you don't have to worry so much about staying focused if you have a non-negotiable standard that you hold yourself accountable to. In other words, 20 conversations and 2 appointments booked. I'm not going to stop until I've achieved 20 conversations and 2 appointments booked, whichever comes last, Angie. So hold yourself accountable to those non-negotiable standards. Focus is a habit. It's showing up day after day, working on what matters most. Okay, Matthew, Kemps, talk to me. Anybody else that has they want to share, put your hand up. Let's go.
So very similar to Darren. For me, whenever I'm in the hot seat, for me that's actually on the field. So if everyone's ever watched like a football movie or been associated with football, walking down the tunnel is basically the drive to your listing appointment. And being in the hot seat of what Darren was confirming or talking about would be like me being on the field with that idea. So basically, being able to differentiate yourself from going through the tunnel, getting prepared, then going onto the field. That's exactly the same mindset. And then you're always going to be having the time when you're just on the practice field. We're on the practice field right now on this call. So understand where your mind needs to be with your focus and where the state of your mind needs to be based off the activity you're doing, allowing yourself to focus, but then taking necessary breaks in between so that you can be laser focused when you need to be.
Great stuff. I love that analogy too, by the way. Shocker. Angie, talk to me.
So yeah, I mean, I was there where you're trying and not intending to create habits, and
Whatever you need to.
it's not working. And what happens is you've talked about this too, John. It's your subconscious, it's your past programming, it's your paradigms. It's all the negotiating we do with ourselves. I'll do it later, or I did this, so I don't need to do that. And it's just what I focus on and I intend to do is come from your goal versus working to your goal. So many people are like plugging away, working towards a goal, but what would it look like if you woke up as that agent that sold 100 million or 500 million or whatever it is? What do they do in the morning? What do they feed their body? What are their non-negotiables? And come from that place every single day, even if you just get 1% better every day and show up in that light, you would be in a completely different place. It's just like a plane, 1% different, they end up miles away from their destination.
That's right. Good job, Angie. Tyan, talk to me.
Angie, I thought that was great. I just wanted to piggyback something Matt Kemp's just said, from like the standpoint of when I go on listening appointments or something that's harder, I listen to certain music and I have routines that I do that put my brain in that mindset. And I got that years ago from Michael Phelps. So when he was talking about coming down a tunnel like an athlete, a lot of these professional athletes, they have routines around their performance, and it literally will shift your mind into the mastery side of it. So just wanted to throw that out there too.
Love that.
Also, I've lost a child for 7 minutes in a theme park, and it is horrifying.
Oh my gosh.
I had
Yeah.
a runner. He's right there. He's still quite the runner, but
Yeah. Yeah.
went down theme park once, learned a lot.
A hack to that one is Apple AirTag underneath the tongue of the shoe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Colin is now 29 years old. That didn't exist when
I
he was.
know, I know.
Okay. All right, Russell, talk to me.
I think one of the challenges with mindset is as a society, you know, that's why your sphere is so important, because we're a microwave society. We want things like that. And this doesn't come overnight. Some people might, but I'm telling you, the larger percentage of the professionals on this call, they work at it, and it's taken a long time. I mean, John, how many thousands of hours did you do so that it rolls off your tongue? And you have to look back on that. You have to get to a certain destination to be able to look back and go, wow, all the hours, because we want it fast.
Right.
I mean, super fast. So I think that's a big challenge. But you know what? I've been listening to you since like January, I think. So it's a short 7 months.
Mm.
And the leaps and bounds that I've made, you know, but I have to look back in order to be able to do that and appreciate the concentration, the sense of urgency, and the clarity. So thanks.
Russell?
And I was at Legoland. Horrible. Is horrible. Shut it down.
I saw that in the chat, right? Wow. You know, for some of you, I have something you could do just for fun if you want to do it. Go back on YouTube to 7 months ago, Russell, for example, and watch some of the recordings from 7 months ago. Listen to what you shared, listen to what you're sharing today, and just be proud of yourself for how much you've grown. I think of Matthew Drexel. When Matthew first got on the call, I think you were new to real estate, Matthew, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
And
I've only had my license a year.
yeah, right. And you should go back and listen to yourself a year ago, because I think you joined this call almost immediately after getting your license. You should go back and listen to some of the calls, watch some of the calls, and watch yourself today. So proud of you.
Yeah, it was ugly.
I'm not saying it was ugly.
No, and I can laugh at it because I have previous experience and I've done script play and like when you're terrible and but you also know you're learning and it's okay and you're with a safe group to learn, right? And that's what this is. It's a safe place to learn and get better.
Yeah, and it's not just your scripting. It's not just how well have you mastered the scripts since you've been on the call for a year. It's your level of thinking. You're thinking at a different level today than you were a year ago. Russell's thinking at a different level today than he was seven months ago. And just really proud of everybody here.
Yeah.
Sean, you put your hand up and I think you left it up, but I'm going to come to you. Nope, you're frozen. Never mind. Okay. That is a wrap. Thank you for joining, guys. Thank you for all of you who invited your friends, got us up to 75 today. Nice job. Let's get over 80. If you're new to the call, thank you for being here. So grateful for you. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do that. Everything that we do here is on my YouTube channel. Just look John Dietz up, you'll find it. All right, that's a wrap. Make it a great day. I'll see everybody tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Go get them.
Thank you, John. Great call.
See you tomorrow.
Go get 'em.
Thank you.